Rachel bit her lip as she skimmed through the practice footage she had shot the day before. It was useless. There were a few interesting shots of Logan Reeves practicing slap shots, but everything else was blurry and unfocused. The footage of Logan teaching Tommy to skate was priceless, but her sister would put Rachel's head on a spike if she even thought about using Tommy for likes. She dropped the phone and cursed herself. Dropping off Tommy at his Make-A-Wish date had given her a golden opportunity to interview Logan Reeves himself. And what had she done? She barely managed to squeak out a single question. But that wasn't completely her fault. She had been totally unprepared for how intimidatingly attractive Logan Reeves would be in person. He was so tall and so built that the words in her mouth had just evaporated. She didn't know when she would get another chance to take Tommy to the arena, so she had to come up with another way to get an exclusive about Logan. Excitement about his trade was at an all-time high, and she had to capitalize on that if she was going to get her account off the ground. She searched the most recent Logan Reeves pictures posted to social media. He was right here, in her town. He couldn't be that hard to track down, could he? Rachel scrolled past a picture of Logan walking down a nondescript street, into a frosted glass door. She went back. Something about it was familiar. She squinted to make out the lettering on the door. Elite Physical Therapy? That was Katie's clinic. Rachel dashed into the kitchen where Katie was somehow simultaneously making pancakes, brushing her teeth, and fastening her hair with a claw clip. Rachel stuck her phone in Katie's face. "Logan Reeves was at your clinic?" Katie slid a plate of pancakes in front of Tommy and brushed past Rachel to spit out her toothpaste. "Yeah, he's been in a few times." Rachel threw her hands in the air. "And you didn't tell me? What's he being treated for?" Katie arched an eyebrow. "Doctor-patient confidentiality isn't something that I would suspend for your TikTok followers." Rachel rolled her eyes. "Come on, you've got to tell me something." Katie poured more pancake batter into the pan. "All I can tell you is that he's come to me twice for some PT. It's not a big deal." "So he'll be back today?" Katie frowned. Would Logan be back? She honestly wasn't sure. The past was heavy between them. When he had come to her office the night before, he could hardly look at Katie. Katie flipped the pancakes. "I don't know, Rach. I really can't get into stuff like that with you. Discussing a patient's treatment could cost me my license, and you know that's the last thing any of us needs." Rachel sat at the table and glumly poured a cup of coffee. She looked at the picture of Logan walking into the clinic again and had an idea. Katie got Tommy dressed and ready. He refused to wear anything but the Bobcats jersey Logan had gotten him, and he couldn't stop talking about his new skates. Logan had even arranged for Tommy to have his own cubby in the locker room. Tommy chirped about Logan nonstop on the drive to the hospital, where he was scheduled to get more tests. "Do you know what Logan eats before games? Mashed potatoes. It's his favorite food, just like me." She hoped that the Big Brother program wasn't a mistake. Logan had already made a massive impact on Tommy, and now she would have to hear about him 24/7. If Logan's mother Margot found out about this and put an end to it, Tommy's heart would break. Katie thanked her lucky stars that she and Tommy had a common last name, Smith. At least on paper, it seemed unlikely that Margot would be able to identify Tommy as her son. Katie got Tommy checked in for tests and monitoring, leaving him with a bag of puzzles and activity books. She hated leaving him there on his own, but she didn't have a choice. She had a carefully balanced roster of credit cards covering various bills and premiums, a fragile ecosystem of deadlines and minimum payments that she had just barely able to maintain with her PT salary. If Logan got frequent treatments from her, of course, it would help her finally get ahead of the bills. Katie was relieved when she made it to the PT clinic. At least it would help her get her mind off of Logan. She loved her job. She knew how much mental anguish a physical injury could cause. When Margot attacked her and Katie struggled to recover from her own injuries, it had completely turned her world upside down. Recovering, not being able to run, it had made her feel like a shell of herself. During that time, she had been left alone with her thoughts, thinking about how Margot had declared she wasn't good enough for Logan, and wondering in the darkest corners of her mind if Margot might be right. It was a busy day at the clinic. She had 2 clients who were learning to walk again after massive surgeries, and one who had been in a car crash. They all needed patience and lots of encouragement. They all had to push through a tremendous amount of physical pain to do the simplest thing, like raising their arm to shoulder height or putting their full weight on a healing leg. Katie found herself zoning out as she massaged her 2 p.m. client's shoulder. Just the night before, Logan had stood in that same spot in her office, staring her down with a brooding, cold gaze. She shivered. Even though Logan was disgusted by the sight of her, his presence stirred her in a way she couldn't explain. She remembered how absurdly hot it had been to have him on her table, massaging his hamstring in the standard therapeutic manner, hearing his breath catch and deepen as she pressed down on the tender muscle. It had made her heart race as if it was foreplay, which was insane and insanely unprofessional. She was starting to wonder if she really could handle treating Logan. It was already a dicey proposition, given the way his mother had threatened Katie's life. But treating Logan on a daily basis would make a huge difference in her paycheck, and having a high-profile client like him would draw even more business to the clinic. Her client complained, "Hey, you squirted massage lotion all over my shirt." Katie looked down. Spaced out, she had pumped a ton of the massage gel all over her client's torso. "Oh, gosh, I don't know where my mind is. I'm so sorry." Flustered, Katie touched the blue sapphire pendant that she wore every day under her shirt. It had belonged to Natasha Tate Cole, her hero, a special piece that Ralph Lauren had designed for her to wear to the Olympics. It had been Logan's version of an engagement ring. When he gave it to Katie, he said that she'd wear it on the podium one day, too. She always touched it when she needed reassurance. Even though it reminded her of Logan, it also reminded her that she had the grit to get through difficult things. Katie pulled out her phone. It was a text from Logan. "I would like to drop by after training, but I see your schedule is booked. Can you stay after your last appointment?" His formal tone stung, but she shrugged it off. She needed someone to get Tommy, but, well, the money would make a difference. She texted Logan that he could come, then resumed cleaning up her client's shirt. When her last client left, Katie made her way to the door to see if Logan was coming, and she heard a frantic buzz coming from the sidewalk. She pushed her way onto the sidewalk where a group of people were gathered in front of Rachel, who held up her phone, filming. "I'm live streaming from the clinic where new Bobcat Center Logan Reeves is about to receive treatment for a mysterious injury." Katie gasped and yanked Rachel aside. "Turn it off now!" Rachel put her phone away. "Katie, you don't understand what a huge opportunity this is for me. Get these people out of here." Rachel shook her head. "No way, it's a public sidewalk. And practice is over. I know he's going to be here any minute." As Logan was slipping his duffel bag onto his shoulder and leaving the locker room, he got a notification on his phone. Someone had tagged him in a reel outside the physical therapy clinic where he was about to meet Katie. Comments were pouring in under the video. "What's wrong with Logan? Maybe the Bobcats bought a lemon." He grimaced. This was the last thing he needed. But that day's drills had pummeled him. He wouldn't be able to keep hiding the injury if he didn't get some treatment for his hamstring. He called Katie. She picked up right away. "I'm sorry, I'm handling it." "I thought I could count on you to be discreet." She sighed. "I can't do anything about it if someone snaps a picture of you coming into my clinic. Logan leaned back against the lockers. Damn, he should have figured. Shit. Okay, well, can you meet me at my penthouse? I'll give you the code. Just make sure nobody follows you. Katie pressed her eyes closed. Penthouse? So much for keeping things professional. And who was going to pick up Tommy? Hello? Logan's voice had an impatient edge. Katie, can you do this for me or not? Katie covered the phone with her hand. Rachel, you're going to get these people to disperse, and then you're going to go get Tommy from the hospital. Rachel's eyes went wide. Wait, on the phone? Is that him? Katie's voice dropped to a growl. I am not playing. Tommy is my priority, and he depends on us both. Go pick him up, and don't put me in a position like this ever again. Rachel's face went pale. She nodded and began waving the crowd away. Katie felt a little bad about letting her inner mama bear roar at Rachel, but she had to set things straight. She cleared her throat. Logan, I can be there shortly. I'll go out the back. Good. I'm texting you the address now. Katie got her things and left through the alleyway. Scurrying to her car, she put Logan's address in her GPS. Of course, it was a skyscraper downtown, the penthouse suite with its own private elevator. Katie felt weird leaving her car at the valet stand as Logan had instructed her. The back seat was full of broken crayons and empty raisin boxes, and she hadn't had it washed since probably the previous presidential administration. She entered the security code in the private elevator and leaned back against the wall as it sailed upward, so high that her ears popped. When the doors opened, she was in a palatial apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows looking out on the city skyline and the river below. Down a hallway, she could see the curved silhouette of a massive soaking tub, a blue-tiled wall, and a huge mahogany bed. She couldn't believe this was where Logan lived. It was so stern, so grown up. Of course, he wasn't a college student anymore, but it still seemed awfully severe for a young sports star. The kitchen was stocked with green juices and complicated chemical-sounding supplements. In the living room, a recessed sofa curved around a fireplace. There was a massive table that looked like it could seat 30. There was even a grand piano in the corner. It fought for space with an almost obscenely large flat-screen TV, which was surrounded by supplemental speakers and a tangled nest of gaming console cords. That was the only part of the apartment that felt like Logan. She smiled as she picked up a controller. Maybe the kid version of him was still in there somewhere. Katie jumped. Someone else was coming up the elevator. She put everything back where she found it and started setting up her massage table. She turned just in time to see a gorgeous blonde in stilettos and a teeny blue dress. She stuck out her hand. Hi, you're here for the massage? I'm Bianca, Logan's fiancée.